Design Leader Insights is brought to you by Fuego UX. Fuego UX is a leading UX research, strategy, and design consultancy.
Hi, Ridhima. Thank you so much for joining the show today.
Hi, Alex. It's my pleasure.
To get started, can you tell us a little bit about your journey in UX?
My journey in design actually started as an architecture student in India. And during architecture school, I started designing for digital experiences. I got exposed to that. This was like in 2011, 2012, when mobile apps and a lot of mobile apps were coming out. iOS, Android was still pretty new. So that's the time when I got exposed to the designing for digital experiences. I worked in India for a little bit in a design agency before I came to the US for a formal program in HCI. And since then, I've been mostly working in the enterprise design space for almost the last 9, 10 years now. And currently, I work as a lead product designer at Databricks. And I work on the ML platform at Databricks. So, which ML platform Databricks basically allows people to build machine learning models, manage them, manage the entire life cycle from training to actually putting models in production, seeing how they're doing, etc. So it's been quite a hell of a journey so far.
I definitely have a million questions about not necessarily Databricks, but just like that space. Like it seems, as an outsider, it seems so intimidating, but a lot of designers want to go to those companies with complex machine learning and AI and business intelligence platforms and all that stuff. How do you figure out what the customers want? And the customers are very, very smart engineers and data analysts that maybe every designer is not. Like, how do you actually become that user in such a complex space?
First, I just want to preface is that as a designer, when you're working in these complex domains, I think there are three axes on which you have to kind of ramp up your knowledge. So one is the product itself on for which you're designing. So I think it's important to kind of understand how the product functions by actually trying to use it. The other is the domain itself, right, in which the product operates. So in this particular case, it's the machine learning domain. And I think getting to a reasonable understanding of that, at least at a high level to begin with, is quite important because
Mm.
that's going to help you actually talk to users and internal SMEs as well. So, like the three axes, right? Product, the domain, and the users are very important when you're just starting out to work in these domains. You can talk to the users and you set up calls with users to understand their use cases and how they're using your product or what challenges they are facing with the current product, etc. And that gives you a little bit of a glimpse as to what are the jobs to be done that a user wants and like what are the gaps in your existing product, for example. But I think to really build that intuitive understanding of like the user's workflow and what are they trying to achieve, I think
Yeah.
you have to kind of the more sessions you can do with users or internal SMEs where you're actually observing people perform the task is like extremely valuable and that gives you a lot more in-depth knowledge. So I think that's like the next year, right? First is speaking to users, then is okay, can I observe users using the product? And then I think the third um, most impactful one is actually even trying to use the product yourself.
Another question there, when I think about these super complex, maybe not complex, but capable platforms,
Mhm.
I think about like the variances in user journeys. Like there might just be like a data analyst trying to do something really quick in the platform, and then there's that, top 3% of users who's trying to push the platform to the ultimate boundary. How do you think about creating an experience that allows both those people to to hop in and be able to find out and accomplish the task that they're trying to do.
So I think it's important to kind of, one, as you're designing, trying to map out like the journeys of these various personas, like what are they actually trying to do? What is ultimately they're trying to achieve from the product? And then try to see that, okay, like, does it make sense to actually, either have a single product experience for these various personas, or you might kind of think about, hey, like for a certain persona, we have a different type of a view or a different experience altogether. It will become clear as to what is the overlap between the various user journeys of these users. If they're vastly divergent, then you might be better off separating out product lines, right? Or if they're like fairly overlapping, then yeah, in that case, you might have like specific workflows in certain parts of the product that are just focused on a particular user persona. There's like more lenses to consider as well about like, hey, can you actually identify the role or like the job that the user is trying to do earlier in the user journey? So then, you can tailor the experience, not just in your product area, but like in the entire various parts of the product. I think this is where AI in the future can be super powerful as well, as to like creating more personalized experiences for specific jobs to be done, or like specific users.
Yeah, no, it makes a ton of sense. Let's switch gears here to advice you might have for new designers entering the field today.
I really think that as designers, we should start diversifying our skill sets to include other parts of the product development cycle. So,
Yeah,
including, we've been like, I think there's been a lot of discourse about, yes, designers should know about business, right? That makes you a
right.
better designer. But I really think that it's the period for like designers to be entrepreneurs and actually start their own ventures in the future. I think designers are very well positioned to do that. And I think to be able to do that more meaningfully, I do think designers should start to get more comfortable with building products, like actual products, by like actually trying to code, or being comfortable with like the more technical aspects of digital product development. Because I think the three skill sets combined is just absolutely dangerous, right? You can do a lot more and actually start putting out real products in the world.
Yeah, I think it's wonderful advice because like maybe you don't get to the point of releasing your own app that's functional with code, but at some point you're going to be actually probably in most situations you're going to be interfacing with engineering and development, and if you can speak their language, they're going to respect you more, right? And same with products. So like I totally agree.
There's one aspect, of course, if you know how they are produced in the back end. I think that is, of course, it's going to help you as designers talk to these various stakeholders. But I think the other piece is that if you know how how products are actually built in the real world, you can actually, then augment that understanding with AI and like other tools to actually, I really think that the future is pretty near where like anyone should be able to put out an app or like
True.
working products into the world much more easily.
Makes a ton of sense. Well, thank you so much for the discussion today. Where can people go to learn more or reach out?
Yeah, so if you're a designer working on any of these complex domains and want to discuss any of these topics that feel interesting to you with me, so feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn, and we can connect there.
Awesome. Ridhima, thank you so much for joining the show today.
Thank you so much, Alex.